Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best EPL bets in 15 minutes or less. Busy midweek. We had Carabao Cup, we got Europa League, but it's time to turn our eyes back to the Premier League. Huge matchup at Old Trafford with Manchester United taking on Tottenham. Big one in Germany as well. Bayern Munich taking on last year's Bundesliga champs, Bayer Leverkusen. I'm Andrew Passaro. He's Ani Sridhar. I know we talk about the other football, but brother, we have a quarterback. Like
Yeah, we
I'm
do.
I'm still
Yeah, we
buzzing
do.
from Monday night. I'm still buzzing for like we could bet on our football team, like our joined football team, which started this friendship. How
Yeah.
great is Jaden Daniels?
I mean, he's amazing. It's just exciting that for the first time in a long time, Sundays are exciting again as a fan, not as like from a betting or a fantasy or any other perspective. Like hate, like rooting for your rivals team to lose is what like I've been doing for the past few years. Like always rooting against the Eagles no matter what, against the Cowboys. Now we can actually root for our team. We have a quarterback, we have an owner, we have a head coach, we have a guy that calls plays. We might actually have a fan base. Like I'm excited to now watch when they go play back at home and see what that home crowd's like because they're not going to show up. Fans show up when the team does well, and I'm excited.
You brought up rooting against your rival. There's a big rivalry game for us. Saturday morning, 7:30. Newcastle will play Manchester City. The big thing about this game, Manchester City are playing without Rodri, and the 21 EPL games that he has missed since he joined Atletico in 2019, Manchester City have lost 7 of those. That's 33% of those games. Um, he was on a crazy streak last year where he had won. I think he went unbeaten over the course of an entire season.
Yeah.
Manchester City without Rodri, it's not to say they're human. You know what I mean? They're still a very good team, but this is a very difficult road game. I think Newcastle double chance plus 130 is worth a sprinkle. Manchester City playing in the middle of the week in Carabao Cup. Not that they had a hard game. They were home against Watford, getting the result they're through onto the next round. They're now going to play Tottenham in round four. But double chance Newcastle at home plus 130 is a good enough number for me because Newcastle is such a good home team. Um, if you're going to take the double chance, you almost have to sprinkle on Newcastle money line because plus 400 for a team that is going to be competing for a European spot, that's like, it's a good number. Do I think Newcastle will probably end up losing and Manchester City will do the thing and make us look like idiots? Yeah, probably. But the numbers there. Both teams to score minus 200. It's hit in 5 of 6 Newcastle games in all comps so far this season. So that's a solid parlay piece for the weekend if you're going to do a both teams to score parlay. I don't have one for the pod this week, but I probably will put one out on socials. So go look for that. Anything you like from this game?
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the under 2.5. I just think this is going to be a grinded out Pep kind of game. Like you said, no Rodri. He's going to have to change a lot of things around. He's going to just hold, hold, hold. He might be happy with 1 point from this, to be honest. Like you said, I do like Newcastle in this contest. The odds are good for that. The under 2.5 comes in at plus 161. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 1-0 victory either way or a 1-1 draw. So I'm gonna sprinkle a little on the under 2.5 here at plus 161.
Yeah, I very well could see that game just being very frustrating to watch for the neutral, for Newcastle fans, for City fans. All right, we're gonna jump to Brentford, West Ham, 10 a.m. I'm going Brentford money line here at plus 125. Little trappy, but Brentford have won all 3 of their home matches this season, 2 in the Prem, 1 in the EFL Cup. West Ham one draw and 1 win on the road, and they just lost Liverpool today 5-1, having to put out like a pretty strong 11 in Carabao Cup. Brentford have won 3 of the 4 home matches against West Ham since their promotion. So plus 125, these are all good enough numbers. Now, Wisa might be out for Brentford. That's a big miss, but they signed Fabio Carvalho from Liverpool for a reason. I've been really unimpressed with West Ham. We all fell for the trap. We were all like, oh, West Ham top 6 is a good number. They've had all these great signings. I'm ready to cut bait on them and start fading them because I don't think Lopetegui has figured out the Premier League yet, and Thomas Frank knows how to play Premier League football. Brentford team total over 1.5 minus 108 is a really interesting number. West Ham have given up that total in 3 of 5 EPL games and gave up 5 on the road against Liverpool. So Brentford to score 2 right around even money is solid, like is a solid number for the Bees. If you don't want to take that because Wiss is out, I totally get that. I do think they get the win on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have play from this one because I wanted to stay away. The numbers looked a little trappy, like you said, on both sides. But Brentford do have a good history, I believe, in London derbies too for the past few seasons. And at home, especially against the London rival, I like it. I like that play.
You got something for Forest Fulham. I didn't love this game, but I have picks, so you're going to talk me into it, and then I'll give you guys what I already had. What do you
Yeah,
like?
I mean, I've been on the Fulham train all season. Last time we spoke, I liked the Fulham money line. They didn't come through, but they did. They're coming off a 3-1 victory against Newcastle at home. Very impressive there. Forest have kind of been up and down. They've come away with a few surprising results, like at Liverpool, coming away with the win. That is absolutely massive. But they've also, let down. That's very classic Nottingham Forest. I like Fulham here to go on the road and come away with the dub. Plus 200 on the money line. I'm taking the bait here. I'm going with the away team. Forest are usually very good at home. It's a tough place to go into and get a result, let alone a win. But I'm gonna ride with Fulham here. It's not a full unit play for me. Probably like a point 0.5 or a point 0.4 unit, but I'm riding with Fulham.
Couple things about that game. Forest unbeaten on the season, 2 wins, 3 draws in the Prem, getting that late dramatic result against Brighton over the weekend. Not great for me. I'm on one of my worst betting runs I've ever been on. It's rough out there in the streets. Um, but I agree with you. I'm Fulham and Forest are right next to each other in the table. Andreas Pereira leads the Premier League
Yeah,
in
he's been unreal.
create in like I think it's like
Chances
creations or
created.
chances
Yeah,
created. So he's
yeah,
pulling strings left and right for them. I would bring up both teams to score. It's hitting 5 of 7 Fulham games and 4 of 6 Forest games. That's at minus 132. So I definitely see goals for both sides in here. And
yeah.
additionally, Morgan Gibbs White is suspended for this game because of the red card
That's right. He
suspension
got a
he
red
picked
card.
up at the end of that Brighton game last week. So if you like both teams to score, once again, minus 132, both teams to score and over 2.5 is plus 120. So always, that's the play of this podcast. So
Yeah, that is deep play of this podcast. VTTS over 2.5. But are both managers also suspended? Wasn't there
maybe,
wasn't when Morgan Gibbs White got that red, didn't two people on the bench, wasn't there a triple sending off of both
yeah,
managers and Morgan Gibbs White?
yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I don't know how manager suspensions work, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if it's the same as
I
player
think they still get to
suspensions.
like be in the stadium and like
They just
walkie talkie
can't be
down. They're
down
not on
there,
the
right?
sidelines, but like
Right.
they get to
They
like
can be
walkie talkie
upstairs.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like a manager suspension to me is like a
It's
nothing
not a big
burger.
deal, but I mean, it just was a rarity to see three people getting sent off at the same time and two being the managers, which is kind of, pretty funny from that last game.
Another big one, 10 o'clock. Everton are taking on Palace. I didn't even look this up, so I will look it up before you bring it up. But Everton have continued to score first. Um, they were even money last week. But what do you like from this game?
Yeah, I like the over 2.5 and both teams to score. It's the bet of the pot here. Plus 107, that's what it comes in. Everton, same issue they've had the past like 3 years. They create a lot of chances. They're just incapable of finishing those and putting it in the back of the net. Palace have been up and down again to start the season, but they do have Eze, who's been unreal for them this year. Mateta's also been fantastic. I think both teams will definitely get on the score sheet here, and I don't think it'll end 1-1. So I love the over 2.5 as well.
Everton to score first again, even money plus 100. I definitely think that's playable. Their defense has
Yeah.
been letting them down, but their offense scores goals as like it's crazy. They are, I mean, that collapse against Bournemouth they had a couple weeks ago is maybe one of the worst choke jobs I've ever seen in professional soccer.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Jumping to our 12:30 game, Wolves hosting Liverpool. Liverpool running riot 5-1 victory against West Ham this weekend. A couple weeks ago, I was saying Liverpool are an under team. Um, I don't think we're going to get an under in this game. Liverpool and over 3.5 is plus 165. And that is like maybe one of my favorite bets to give out. What I'm noticing is that there is so much attacking talent on this team now between Darwin Núñez starting to come into form, Jota bagging a brace today. You had Chiesa out there for about 60 minutes. You had Salah come on and score. You had Gakpo score a brace, Luis Diaz scoring a brace last week. Those starting spots for Liverpool are going to be competitive. They have the quality to rotate. And I
Yeah.
think you're going to see outside of Salah, none of those spots are nailed on. And it's going to be a who's scoring, who's assisting, who's creating chances. So there's a series of competitions. So Liverpool and over 3.5 plus 165. I do think Wolves get on the score sheet in this one. Defense has been a little shaky. But Liverpool 19 shots is minus 125. They've hit that total in their last three matches. Liverpool 20 shots is plus 110. The offense is starting to come alive. I think they've hit that total in two out of the last three, starting to figure out the system, starting to like pin teams back, hold them down, and just have their way with them. So I think Liverpool are cooking. And with the potential Manchester City points deduction, expulsion, whatever coming down the line, and with City dropping points last weekend to Arsenal, Premier League has to be a huge point of emphasis for this Liverpool team. So I think they can get all 3 points at Wolves and score a lot of goals and have a lot of shots. So we're on shots there. And that brings us to Sunday. Ipswich Villa, lean Villa, team total over 1.5, minus 128. Villa have hit that total in all their matches except their match against Arsenal. The offense has been
Hmm.
humming. That's a good number. Villa, Ipswich defense look good, so that's not an official play. It's a lean. But let's get to Manchester United. They're taking on Tottenham. Um, Manchester United, another disappointing result in Europe midweek, drawing to Twente. Tottenham are off this week. They have a full week to rest, get ready for this game. Um, a lot of places you could go. A lot of people tell you goals. I bet goals in the Man United game last weekend, didn't get any goals. And frankly, I just haven't seen enough from this team that I'm like, yeah, just give me the over 3.5, which is a really low number. Both teams to score again would have closed out a parlay for me last week, didn't get it. So I'm cautious about that. I'm going shots and I'm going corners. Manchester United are averaging 13.6 shots up a match, and they're averaging giving up 9.8. Tottenham are averaging 17.2 shots per match. There's 16 shots in the game is minus 110. That is playable for me. 17 shots at plus 125. There's what has the capability to be an end-to-end, all-out
Yeah,
EPL proper Barclays of just bullshittery and shithousery, all of it.
correct.
There's literally a chance that like the managers throw hands in the middle of this game.
Which would be fun.
Um, it should be a fun game, but I'm not confident about goals. And then I'm going to corners and I'm going with the Ani special. Ladders. We're on the ladder. 11.5 at minus 126, over 12.5 plus 114, over 13.5 plus 182. I don't know what happens in this game, but I know that there's going to be shots and I know there's going to be corners, and that's the value I'm going to attack. If you made me pick a team, it's Tottenham. Plus 175 money line, plus 110 on the draw, no bet. But I'm not taking a winner. I'm just taking shots. I'm just taking corners. And I probably just stole half of your talking points.
Yeah, I mean, I have one same exact bet. I've got the corners ladder, of course. I mean, how can I not have the corners ladder here? I have to look at the exact number. I think United had, I think, 10 plus today. When we're recording this, this is when they played in their Europa League match against Twente. I think they had 10 plus corners, maybe they had nine, but 1-1 disappointing draw. I did sprinkle Tottenham money line at plus 175, just like you. I think they're the better side right now in the league. United just look very disheveled. I love Xerxes, but he hasn't found it just yet as the number nine there in United, filling in for a injured Rasmus Højlund. So I just think Tottenham are the better side right now. And I like you said, this could be a 0-0. This could also be a 4-3. I really don't know. There are going to be shots, like you said, inaccurate shots from outside the box that these two teams love to do. They've got the players that do it. Madison, Bruno, Rashford, Son, Kulusevski. These guys just love to rip it and see what sticks. Not very concisive build-up play with the nice, chance at the end of it. So everything you said, I agree with. I think we see a bunch of corners, especially because these two teams play off the wing too and not down the middle. So I think that's a big plus. So yeah, give me but I'm gonna also sprinkle Tottenham money line plus 175.
Yeah, I that's the play if you made me pick one. By the way, Man United did have 10 corners on their own and another 5 corners from Twente in Europa League. So we know this Man United team, when they're playing at Old Trafford, we get corners. So let's try to get it on Sunday afternoon. One quick one to go back in time a little. We're going to Germany. Bayern Munich are taking on Bayer Leverkusen. And these games last year were box office. And I wouldn't even be mad at you as the Liverpool fan of this podcast if you said, yeah, I'm not watching Wolves Liverpool. I'm watching Bayern versus Leverkusen, because these are two heavy hitters. Leverkusen, they lost for the first time in a long time, finally, to Leipzig a few weeks ago, but they still look box office, late winners, dramatic stuff. Bayern Munich have been, I mean, scoring 5 goals a game against teams. The over
Right.
3.5 goals is minus 108. This is the only time I will ever tell you that that is worth it at that
Yes.
number.
Yes.
The over 4.5 is at plus 220, and I will be taking that. Um, Both teams to score in the first half is plus 192. Now, this Bayern Munich defense has looked okay. They've looked better. But they gave up goals in the Champions League.
Mm,
It was also after Neuer came off injured, but this Leverkusen offense has been humming. They pumped PSV on the road a couple weeks ago in the Champions League. So I like the both teams to score first half. First half over 1.5 on its own is right around plus 100. It's minus 102 last I checked.
I
That's
like that.
playable. You could get that in the first 10 minutes of this game.
True.
Um, Leverkusen team total over 1.5 is plus 130. That's one of those bets that it's like
Ooh,
we never get them at that good of a number, and I don't think this Bayern
ever.
defense is that
Yeah,
good. Um, you want to tell me you're going to take Florian Wirtz score or assist if it's at plus 105 or better? Hammer that.
always.
Um, Boniface, another one that's playable. Jamal Musiala. I think Musiala and Wirtz are like the next two guys up for the German national team, or they are the now for the German national team.
Yep.
I think you could probably parlay both of them score or assist in this game, and it's would be something. I think this game is going to be very fun. Hesitant to pick a winner. Um, if you, I know some of the books will let you bet is there a goal in the last 70 from 75 to 90. This is the type of game to play that ahead of
Game.
time. um, but yeah, it should be a classic in the Bundesliga. I think this is one of the biggest game of the year, in my opinion. I don't think Bayern versus Dortmund is that good anymore, but this is. So if you're going to watch any Bundesliga this weekend, this is the game to watch.
I love that. Yeah, I don't really have a play for it. I haven't looked yet. I probably will, but I goals galore for sure. The way Bayer Leverkusen just dismantled their opponent in that first Champions League game was insane, and it all happened in the first half. And Wirtz was unreal. So yeah, I'm all aboard. And yeah, Bayern, I mean, what they went 7-1, 7-8-1. I don't
Harry
yeah.
Kane just keeps having hat tricks.
Yeah.
Like it's
Anytime every time I don't want to bet on Harry Kane, he just scores four. Like it's ridiculous.
Harry Kane is this is a game that I'm expecting a lot of goals, and Harry Kane is minus 140 anytime goal score. Boniface is plus 165. Um, Musiala is plus 195. Elise is plus 230. And Verts is plus 290. Let me see his anytime score. I don't have score or assist yet. It's early in the week when we're taping this. So be on the lookout for that. That's definitely like one to look for. He always played in big games for them last year. One of my personal favorites. One to watch. I was watching Betis in the middle of the week or the beginning of the
Mm,
week. Abde Ezalzouli, he's a left winger for theirs, has hit 3 shots in all but one match for Betis so far this season. He's their left winger. I think this might be like we just bet him 3 shots in every game. And Betis is one of those teams that the books aren't going to be following on a regular basis
very
because they're
true.
not they're not a hot, sexy team. So be on the lookout for him. I'll be putting that into plays. That's my last pick of the day. We are going to wrap this pot up. We'll be back next weekend. One last week of Champions League next week, then club football next weekend, and then we have an international break. And I need a hard reset. It is coming thick. It is coming fast. La Liga in the middle of the week. Everything's happening. So make sure you're following us at Angel Passaro, at Ani323, at the Plus Money Pod because it's all happening. I'm
Yes, it
happy.
is.
I'm happy, but I need a breather. Um, let's have a great weekend. Let's have a good Tottenham game. Let's have an all-time classic Bayern game, and we'll see you guys next week.